Hello everyone, this is Altar, and this segment is here to let you know that after about a year of producing content for Offworld Trading Company, Mohawk Games contracted me out to do some QA consulting work for them. This video was made during the time that contract was active. Thank you for listening. Please enjoy the video. Hello everyone, and welcome to game number 1 in our best of 3 series between Abyss and Pbhead. This is going to be our final round 1 match of our Offworld Trading Company release tournament. And this map, pretty expensive steel.
Yes.
And let's see, carbon. There is a scavenger location. Scavenger's been highly valued so far. Expensive power as well. Lots of geotherms, though.
There's two one good scavenger location.
And it's gone.
And it's gone.
No big surprise to see Pbhead picking that up for a lot of debt. 36,000. That means Abyss, he is just going to found Scientific over in the patch of aluminum and iron.
Not bad, not bad. I was looking at that. Yeah, I like it.
It's alright. I'm a little bit nervous about the fact that he doesn't have a lot of water close by, and of course there are magnetic storms available. Always going to be magnetic storms or pirates, one of the two. And so I was wondering if maybe robotic would have been a better option.
Yes, seeing the magnetic storms there against the scavenger, it could turn out not so good as it first appeared.
Yeah, that's my big concern, is the magnetic storms against scavenger. Of course, you get 2 storms per purchase. You can buy a lot of them as a scavenger. Also, I want to point out there are nukes available this game. Usually, that kind of encourages to go scientific and not to go scavenger, because scavenger getting their carbon nuked is a very big problem. But Pbhead's had so much carbon near him. I don't think it's going to be a problem.
No, I think if it gets nuked, you just swap over to another tile.
Absolutely.
There's an abundance to choose from.
For sure. Alright, well, silicon got expensive. That means Abyss put down a solar panel. Bit early for a panel, but I don't mind it because, man, power's already going insane with all these steel mills going on. This helps keep Abyss from letting things get too far out of control. Pbhead, in fact, transitioning some of his carbon into wind turbines. Very weak turbines. Only weak levels of wind here. But it's still going to be okay.
They'll cover his power, I would imagine.
Oh yeah, Scavenger does not consume very much power, of course, typically at the start of the game. So this will keep him from falling into huge amounts of debt very easily as well.
Like you said, there's plenty of geothermals there, so he could always transition into one of those later on, perhaps.
Absolutely, and that's what I expect. I think this is just a moment of opportunity, being like, I've already got these claims. I only need this wind power for a short time. I can transition back to carbon later. But for now, my carbon isn't doing anything, so I may as well make sure I don't fall too deep into debt. Wow, mutiny attempt. That's aggressive.
I think that's going to come back on his solar panel if he's not careful.
Yeah, I would expect that to either hit the solar panel or simply be stored up for later. Pbhead, though, typically very aggressive, likes to use the black market if he has the opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, as it's done now, I'd probably take that panel just to try and rack my opponent's debt up slightly.
Yes, that's definitely an option. Also, though, could try and be a little patient with it. See if your opponent puts down a geotherm, since there are plenty of those on this map. Then have that mutiny ready to go during the geotherm fight.
Yeah, but being a scavenger, so long as you've got a little bit of cash hanging around, you've got easy access, so maybe make use of it now.
We do see reactors coming up for both players. Pbhead going to get the advantage on this one. He's already secured a lot of the water that he's going to need in order to power these reactors. Whereas Abyss, he's got to ship all the way back from out there before he gets any of this cash, just in order to have water available for his reactors as well.
But if he even gets his product back to his base?
Yeah, that's the big concern, right?
Yeah, magnetic storm's going to come down.
Well, geothermal auction. Both players want this.
PB's prepared to pay for it, though.
Yep. Now, I would not be surprised to see PB spend a little bit of this cash to grab up Magnetic Storm quickly, just so he's got them ready to go. But there's also the option that if you buy a Magnetic Storm, it warns your opponents that's what you want to do. Maybe you don't buy it until the last moment. That way they get a little lackadaisical about how they ship their resources.
Yeah, that's a good point, but
Abyss not going to give in, though. I mean, look at this. He's already shipped one of his reactors, making sure not to ship too many resources at once. I like that he's already shipped something.
He's got to keep an eye on it. If he plays it right, he should be able to sneak a few there and powers EMP down on PB's bits and pieces, takes his wind turbines out and both his carbons.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that EMP. When you're fighting over resources, there's a lot to say for hitting them directly in the area where you're competing for income. Power is fine, they're both making power, but none of them are going to be making money off of it anytime soon, whereas they're both trying to make some money. Oh, there's Magnetic Storm by. I expect that to be coming in momentarily.
That looks like a full truck as well.
Yes, it does. Magnetic Storm right on top of that fuel and oxygen.
Sadly, a crashed truck.
Yeah, very, very painful. Big iron purchase out of PB. There's a shortage on the way. He just wants to get some extra cash on hand out of that.
That's a good move. His opponent's not into any kind of iron, so yeah, buy it in. Make a few bucks.
That's another storm gone. Pbhead losing the geotherm, but he can take it right back, no problem, with that mutiny he had stored up. Not going to be an issue.
Sensible guy keeping it there.
Alright, and PB easily gets his upgrade after the shortage. I would expect him to move into some water and food after this. Those do seem to be the obvious locations.
Yeah,
Might need to take another geotherm, though.
That would be a good... yeah. Yes. If he's got the carbon to do it, which he should have.
Well, and that's the thing, is if you take the geotherm, you can actually more easily collect the carbon by transitioning out of your wind turbines.
Yeah. I mean, the wind turbines, $80 a second. Not too bad.
I have to say, Abyss, Pbhead has not been making, I don't think, this game, good use of his scavenger advantage in the black market. He hasn't been making purchases. He didn't do something like just simply nuke the medium silicon tile of his opponent. I think that would have been a very strong move. And so Abyss is keeping up very effectively this game in the scientist against scavenger matchup.
You could almost say Abyss is slightly ahead.
Yeah, it's quite possible. I mean, Pbhead has more money at this moment. And Pbhead also picked up that auction earlier, but of course Abyss has the debt advantage.
Yeah.
Ooh, 16,000 for this water. Is that worth it? I'm not sure. It is a claim, and water is good. Don't get me wrong. It's just no adjacency on that ever. Only 2 water a second, period.
Yeah, if it comes to it, it could go into a wind turbine.
Yeah, a turbine, a panel if he needs to.
Given there's no claims, so I think that's okay.
It's true, there are no claims. I'm just concerned about his debt. We just saw in our little 1v1 exhibition that we had that debt can really kill a scavenger pretty easily sometimes. So you gotta be careful with these auctions.
It is a slippery slope. Any new player needs to be very careful about that.
Well, goodbye power.
It's dead.
Yeah, I'm actually a little surprised these wind turbines are still active.
Yeah, given the price of carbon, I think definitely transition them into carbon.
Carbon's super expensive, and a lot of players don't know there was a late-stage change to Offworld Trading Company where primary buildings no longer cost any resources whatsoever. So it used to be, Scavenger would get in this awkward position where when carbon got expensive, they couldn't easily transition back into it because it took carbon to get back into their carbon production. Now, though, that's no longer a problem. So it's always a transition you want to be ready to make.
PB takes the upgrade to HQ5. Good move.
Yeah, plenty
extra
of cash
reactor.
on hand too. And well, what's great about this is, yeah, carbon's pricey for the moment, but man, he's just going to recoup all that very quickly and very easily.
Yeah, he's got to watch his debt though.
Absolutely. I do like these solar condensers out of Abyss too. Steel got very, very cheap. He didn't need that anymore, so he just moves into the solar condensers and a nuke on Pbhead's water on the high tile.
They haven't been listening, have they?
I want to kill someone.
Do you think he's gonna have optimization lab coming up, or will it be a patent?
No. I hope not. Man, are they doing that? They're not doing that, are they? They're not doing that.
They're not doing it at the moment, but
yes, with the nuke on the high tile, that's kind of what would be expected, isn't it? Ugh.
have we seen PB? Oh, I see. PB's gone in and split them.
So I want to point out, this is almost distinctly a mistake out of Abyss. Abyss had the opportunity. It's not a huge deal, but he could have cut off adjacency for these silicon tiles PB's taking right now.
Yeah.
And he chose not to. If he simply takes, he already had the one medium. He could have taken 2 lows in such a fashion that no remaining low had adjacency with the other low. And he elected not to. You almost always want to do that sort of thing, just to make your opponent have to reach that one step further for the further away Silicon, if he wanted that adjacency.
That's it. Yeah. Always try to disadvantage your opponent as much as you can.
Man, we talked about cash for Pbhead. He has been making that so effectively this game. This food and these reactors doing such great work for him. Abyss only ever in one at a time, combined with this very high carbon price. He's got the cash to kill now.
Yeah, he sells down. He sells down, he's got it.
Pbhead was, unfortunately though, Pbhead goes for the off-world market. I was going to point out just a moment ago that his resources were set up in a fashion to say this is what he wanted to do. I think it's an absolutely massive mistake. You have the opportunity to kill your opponent, notice it, pay attention to it, do it. It's not a very complicated situation.
I mean, that's the thing, Abyss had nothing in the bank. He could not defend himself. So, yeah, I think PB's come out to the off-world market now, has he?
Why to nuke a scientist Silicon? Alright, let's get back to that. It's not very complicated. Silicon at the time was exceptionally valuable. Pbhead, thank you for finishing up the game. Cancel your market. Get it done. There it is. Pbhead takes the game. Now let's answer that Silicon question. You nuke the medium Silicon because Silicon itself was very expensive. Very, very easily. It only cost 3k to get the nuke out. And you're going to stop your opponent. It's going to get knocked down to trace. Yeah, they can move their one silicon tile into a glass furnace. Who cares? That's never going to actually finish a shipment. And if it does, you just knock it out of the sky with Magnetic Storm. Not a problem whatsoever. It's definitely a strong move. Also, yeah, we talk about, look, don't nuke high tiles. Seriously.
No, don't nuke them. The maths does not work out for it. It's also proved yesterday.
What did I do yesterday?
Still love nuke. Yeah, but you see, I like...
Oh, did I subtract 1 from 2, and then I subtracted 1.25 from 1.5?
You did indeed.
That was hard. Like, stream math, not a good idea. I know it was boosted. I know it was boosted. That's the only argument. But nukes, when you're using a nuke, like if you want to attack it because it's boosted, just hit it with an EMP or a mutiny. Seriously, don't nuke it.
I think, though, the exception to that rule is if your opponent has got slant drilling, then you should go for the high tile.
Slant drilling changes this because obviously, like with slant drilling, if you hit a medium tile and he has slant drilling, you just knock the high tile down to a high tile. That's not very useful, as it turns out. And the other argument is you go after the one that has strong adjacency bonuses if they've set up that adjacency.
Yes.
Like, if the tiles are set up in a weird way that one tile has 2, everything else has 1, feel free to nuke the center. That's fine, whatever. But stop using nukes on high tiles like that. Driving me crazy. I'll get through one of these days. I'm going to have an entire tutorial. It's like going to be like 4 tutorials down the line. It's literally just going to say, for 5 minutes straight, nuke medium tiles, nuke medium tiles, nuke medium tiles, nuke medium... That's all it's going to be, and it's all going to be your fault. Everybody else's fault out there.
Yeah. I think they need to learn to build steel mills first, and then move them onto the complex stuff.
So, yeah. Anyway, look. We've already got the steel mills down. There was a great one about that. I'm just looking at what happened this game. I think you can really see that Pbhead, he makes twice as much. Or sorry, yeah, sells $88,000 worth of fuel. Yeah, he's buying it, but that's all going to debt, so who cares? Whereas Abyss literally sold $5,000 of fuel that game.
Well, Abyss did lose a lot of fuel, didn't he?
Yeah, those magnetic storms, huge work. This is why you don't go for that scientist location. Pbhead with a great punish with those magnetic storms. I want to check the black market. He only bought 2. But of course that gave... Or sorry, Abyss bought 2. No, that's EMPs. What am I looking at? 3. Magnetic storm. Pbhead bought 3 sets of magnetic storms. That gives him 6 storms. Made great use of those, shutting down all of Abyss's transport trucks. All kinds of cash just disappearing off the map. Easy win for PB.
Valuable, weren't they? Very valuable.
Oh yeah, well worth the money. I mean, you spent 14,000. Even if you're blowing up literally like 1 shipment each time, there's 60 resources in that shipment typically, at least. Like, there's on average 60. Because sometimes it's going to be 40, sometimes it's going to be 80, depending on if the oxygen and fuel are both sending. And so that's just 80 resources that combined are worth like over $100 each on average. That's a lot of cash gone from 6 storms.
Yes, it certainly is.
Right, hello everyone, and welcome to game number 2 in our best of 3 series between Pbhead and Abyss. Abyss showing some signs of life in that last one. Had a nice idea, but unfortunately up against Pbhead, you gotta have more than that to actually push through. Pbhead takes a nice quick majority buy, it seems. in that first game. Gonna have a different time this one, though.
Yeah, there's a couple of decent scavenger spots. Maybe a robot. Plenty of geothermals. Power's high.
Power's high with offices.
And cheap as steel.
And cheap steel. I mean, it's an interesting game. It's going to be interesting to me to see what these people do. Pbhead once again going for the Scavenger. Scavenger stays consistently strong. Abyss this time just going after the steel. That's not something I can agree with on this map. Actually. I do not like this.
Oh, not another scientist. That's with magnetic storms again.
Magnetic storms again. More than that, look at how much aluminum is actually on this map. There are just 2 high tiles left, and Abyss is so far away from them. And Pbhead, he sees this, he knows what's going on, he identified the aluminum problem. He found Scavenger next to the only aluminum on the map with adjacency. Takes that, and he just drives the price sky high. Abyss is going to sit here trying to sell steel. I don't want to call the game done, but man, Abyss is looking in a bad spot already.
Yes, it's not looking good.
Because, okay, he gets to HQ2. That's super important. I think that was mostly on the back of just how many resources he crushed when he found it. Gonna let him survive and move on through. Abyss, you gotta take this aluminum, though.
Yeah.
Alright, he's got one.
Does.
Good.
That's good.
That's all he really needs is one. But still very important to get that secured.
It's going to be slow going, though, especially with aluminium at 52. Although I expect PB will be selling that down, make it a little bit of cash.
Yeah, I think once Abyss actually has this aluminum secured, I would not be surprised to see PB going ahead and using it to get the money he would need to upgrade with this glass. Maybe get some black market done. I actually would love to see this aluminum metal mine, as soon as it gets finished, just mutiny it. Just take it away. Just say no.
Or nuke it.
Or you could take the water. Water's valuable. Nukes would be fine too. Exactly correct. It is a high tile, so I like... The nuke might actually be better, purely because it's so far away from PB's base. I don't know if he wants to pay the fuel costs for that.
Yeah, it's a long way to drag it back. When he's got adjacency on his aluminium, probably nuke's the one to go for.
So PB just sitting on this upgrade button, waiting for it, which is fine. Likely wants to pick up a black market tool, wants to make sure he has enough left over to actually use these buildings. He does mutiny the aluminum, though. Gonna go ahead and go forward with that play.
I don't know about that.
I'm concerned about the fuel.
Yeah, it's going to cost. I mean, he's losing $150 a second at the moment. When he gets a few more blimps in the air, wow,
yeah,
that's going to be near enough to. It's not going to be
work out. Painful, but with this high power price, it's possible. PB already moving into 2 geotherms. It's possible these geotherms are going to cover his debt easily enough, and he may be able to get away with this play. Also, it just makes Abyss's life awful, right? He's trying to make steel. Steel is worthless. He's trying to make water. Water's worthless. That's literally all he's got. Double water pump. Once again, players need to stop doing this. Look at what happens to water when you go double water pump. Stop it. $3. You can't do it. Abyss needs this claim bad.
He needs power bad.
Well, that too.
I just can't see him getting any power on the board for...
He needs everything bad. It's kind of problematic. You can't need everything and have nothing. It just doesn't really work out that way.
It doesn't. I mean, food's lovely, but again, if he gets any food up, magnetic storms are just going to pop them down immediately.
Well, Pbhead gets it for 18. Yeah, that's a lot of debt, but once again, with these geotherms coming up, he should have these online before the interest ticks, so he shouldn't fall any further than that 10% he's going to get at his current rating, and might get back up to 6.
Well, even if he does pay the 10%, that's 8,000-9,000. It's not a huge amount.
No, I think he'll be just fine. I think he's caught this in time. He is using a lot of fuel at the moment. It's driving fuel high. A nice little interesting thing about this is fuel's getting expensive, but he's gonna not have that tile permanently. It's just for the moment.
I would imagine PB's going to be moving into fuel very shortly, and he's going to think, oh, that's a very nice price I'm getting for my fuel.
Oh, and Abyss tries to set up this geotherm. Taken away immediately.
Oh, dear.
That's not going to work out at all, is it? Pbhead, let's see. There have been Goon Squad purchased by Pbhead, but he knew Based on the prices, he had bought the only one.
Yes. Yeah, PB knew there was no goon squad on that, so he'll say, thank you very much. I will add that to my vast collection of goon.
And suddenly, I mean, despite the auction, despite the early found, Pbhead climbing his way out of debt and Abyss just falling straight on into it. I'm avoiding doing anything weird with his name, so you guys in the stream should be happy about that. I'm not getting ridiculous. HQ4 to HQ2. I'd say this is just about all said and done. Once again, you don't want to call the game too early because it makes things uninteresting, but I'm not going to lie to you guys. HQ4 to HQ2, one guy has only 20k debt, another guy has 100,000 debt, one guy has 3 geotherms, the other guy has 0 geotherms, power still over $200 a piece, offices on the board. Things are not looking good.
Nope. Not at all. No, in no way, shape, or form.
Like, I think we called this out as an awkward found pretty much right the moment it happened. And then we just kept finding ways that it was worse and worse and worse as time went on.
Yes.
And
just not seeing the water patches to support the scientific, and against the scavenger with magnetic storms. HQ level 5 now for PB.
Now, I gotta say, I would have loved seeing a robot there. That would have been fantastic. Like, a robot in that location. And there are a few reasons for that. One of them is aluminum was awkward. Aluminum was gonna be awkward no matter what, right? But as a robot, you don't need as much aluminum, so that's okay. You can just kind of take the one, eventually you'll be alright. You can pull through first couple HQ levels without aluminum if you need to.
Yes.
And then, of course, you're not getting all this life support debt either.
Expanded.
That's it, you got a few. I mean, you could, robots, I think you could probably upgrade almost immediately with the price of steel. So you'd be straight away equaling PB.
Absolutely. Yeah, super cheap steel. Get so much silicon iron out of the ground. Abyss is just going to give it up. Pbhead was going for the kill. Mercifully ending this game fairly quickly. Bad found. And you'll see the bad found. It didn't look bad. I mean, I think most new players would see this found and be like, oh, he's got, even like moderately decent players might see this found and think, oh, that's pretty good. He's got steel, he's got silicon, the water's not too far away, he's got a couple patches he can get triangles down. And yeah, aluminum, whatever. But in this game, aluminum wasn't whatever, and steel was just plain bad.
You can't do that sort of thing in 1v1. You might get away with it in 4-player, but you've got to be so tight when it's only 2 of you playing the game.
Yeah. You gotta be on point in a 1v1 game, and this found just unfortunately was not. I mean, I could have almost forgiven it if Glass had started at like 120 with some warehouses. Then that might be okay, because you're gonna have a resource to get into HQ2 easily.
Yep. Your opponent's going to be buying glass, I would imagine, if he's a scavenger.
Has to.
Yeah, so the glass is going to be strong, so that would be good, but
without it, it's just not going to work.
It's not at all. Not at all.
Ooh. All right, well, Pbhead 2-0 very, very quickly on through, and that means our round 1 is finally complete. I say finally. We've only been running this tournament for like 3 days, so not a big deal. I'll go ahead and get that reported. I think that's how most people would have predicted this one to go.
I think anybody against PB would probably have the edge.
He's done very, very well in these 1v1 tournaments in the past. He's up against Sir Rogers next, is what that's going to be. And winner of that goes on to face Death Tacticus.
Oh, the noob.
The noob, yes.
I doubt he'll be going scavenger again.
I mean, you still go scavenger, right? One unfortunate game shouldn't deter you from something like that.
I kind of regret it. I didn't sign up for this now.
I know. Look, I mean, DT, he's gotten the furthest in the tournament. You just trounced him.
Well, I thought he was a noob. It was his lucky day. Or my lucky day, probably. If we played it all again, I think I would have been very embarrassed.
Yeah, that's...
I think Wino, he makes a reasonable point there. Scavenger is looking very, very powerful in the 1v1.
Scavenger's looking good, but I don't think it's unbeatable. You proved that just last game.
Yes. But I think the jury's out on that.
Well, I mean, you did win the game. Let's,
Well,
it's a fact.
Yeah, you can't prove anything with one game. I think we've got to look at all the games that we've seen, and in every time the winner has been how many non-scavengers have won.
Not very many, but on the other hand, I think we might be reading into that too much, because generally speaking, the stronger players are going to have better identified that Scavenger is powerful, and so then the strong players take Scavenger, and you end up with some confirmation bias going on, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, Scavenger is powerful. We all know that, but Scavenger is most certainly not unbeatable, I would say. It's going to depend on found location. It's going to depend on black market that's available. It's going to depend on what else is available on the map. How good the iron and steel are. What other options players have to go for.
Yeah, that's very true. Well, it'll be nice to see some of the later games, see how they go, and see what... Again, it's largely going to depend on the map. We've seen very favourable carbon maps, I think.
We have seen some very favorable carbon maps, and which is a bit odd. Usually carbon's not quite that powerful.
Why, yeah, when was the map? When did they tweak the map for carbon? That was quite a long time ago, wasn't it?
I think it was a while ago at this point, yeah.
Yeah. So, it'll be interesting to see, though.
It will be.